Crow's feet, laugh lines, wrinkles, freckles, sure. Call them imperfections, but they make us uniquely human. Trying to smooth them out and cover them up sometimes just leaves you looking less human. Cosmetic surgery is a multi-billion-dollar industry and growing, and so are our lips. It can be ironic going to the surgeon wanting to change your look, so you ask them to make you look like Kim Kardashian, who doesn't even really look like Kim Kardashian anymore. Of all of the cosmetic procedures, the most popular and the most profitable is Botox. The financial, physical, and mental ramifications are often looked over, and some may even surprise you. Let's dive in and find out if Botox is truly as great as they say it is. Let me take you back in time a bit. It's the 1800s. You just got home from work, and it's time for supper. You and your family all gather around the dinner table to eat smoked ham, and soon, something is not right. Your vision goes blurry and you fall incredibly ill. A food poisoning called botulism takes place. Many lives throughout this time period were ended due to a particular bacteria invading the nervous system. Good news is it's extremely rare to die of this today because we learned how to avoid ingesting it, but we do inject it. We inject it more than 4 million times per year in the US alone. Researchers figured out that this bacteria killing people produced a toxin called Clostridium botulinum. Today, we know it as Botox. The procedure is relatively quick, lasting usually between 10 and 20 minutes. The hopefully licensed practitioner, sometimes known as a cosmetic injector, discusses with you where you would like the toxin injected. I say hopefully licensed because in many states there's often minimal or no regulation regarding who is trained or even qualified to perform these procedures. When the toxin is injected into the facial muscles, it blocks certain chemical signals from the nerves that cause muscles to contract. Think of it paralyzing or freezing your face so it doesn't move too much. This helps prevent further creasing. The effects last about 3 to 6 months because that's how long it takes for our bodies to create new nerve pathways. That's if you're lucky. Repeatedly getting Botox can result in permanent nerve damage and even paralysis. Let's talk about cost. Yeah! Depending on where you live, the average cost of the procedure may vary, but you can expect to spend between $300 and $600 for just one session. Patients as young as 18 years old are approved for receiving Botox. And every year, we're starting the procedures younger and younger. Why? The simple answer is marketing. More and more young people, especially girls, are told they're able to prevent wrinkles and fine lines by preventatively freezing those facial muscles so the creases don't have a chance to develop in the first place. But how is the average 18-year-old affording $300 to $600 procedures every 4 months? The answer is most aren't. These days, you don't need money up front. You can utilize credit cards or financing through options like Care Credit so that money up front is not an issue. Over 90% of the customer base for Botox is women. And the amount of marketing spent on telling women that their self-worth is solely rooted in their appearance is in the billions. Marketing is a very lucrative industry. The best marketers don't just perfect billboard design and commercial production, they study people and psychology. Almost 100 years ago, in the 1930s, a strategy was discovered called the Rule of 7. This rule states we need to see a product or brand 7 times on average before whipping out our wallet to support. This repeated exposure makes potential customers more comfortable and trusting of that brand or product. Humans grow to like and trust what we are familiar with. Unfortunately, that's whether or not it's good for us. Botox is marketed to be fairly safe and effective if performed by a trained licensed professional. However, sometimes there are complications. One of those complications is called ptosis. This is a complication that causes drooping of the eyelid due to paralysis and usually lasts a few weeks, but it can last for a few months. This complication is usually due to a higher dose injected than needed, most likely because of an unqualified practitioner. Some other possible complications to consider is bruising and pain at the injection site, headache, nausea, redness, double vision, and more. Those all seem short-lived and temporary, but the more serious ones would include asymmetrical smile, trouble breathing, muscle weakness, permanent nerve damage or paralysis, usually due to higher levels administered than that which was needed. So I hate to beat a dead horse. I know you get it by now. If you're gonna jab yourself in the face, you're gonna make sure and promise me you're going to find someone licensed and qualified to do so. Because if we are aware of these complications, that is good, but if we can avoid them at all costs, that is better. But on the topic of higher doses, the toxin was originally used for not cosmetic use, but for an aid in certain health conditions like treating muscle spasms for those with cerebral palsy. It also can be used to help those with chronic migraines, overactive bladder, and even excessive underarm sweating. For these uses, higher doses are required for it to really do the trick. It's truly amazing how far modern medicine has come, but with its pros always comes potential cons. Sadly, in rare cases, too high of a dose can result in death from severe difficulties in swallowing or breathing after the treatment. Apart from financial and physical repercussions, our mental health is a major component to remember when literally altering our faces and bodies surgically. When we're young, all we want to be is older. And when we're older, all we want to be is younger. It's normal to have these feelings because unfortunately, hindsight is 20/20. That cliche saying, "You don't know what you had until it's gone," is quite true for most. Life is a journey, and yes, much of it is spent looking ahead and then looking back, but not enough is spent looking at exactly where we are right now. Learning to appreciate every day for what it is and for the season we are in would help us love our body and skin that we're in and appreciate it for all that it does for us. But change can be tough. Seeing our hair begin to gray or our skin start to change in ways it never has before can be alarming. And sadly, instead of the movers and shakers of this world standing by us and helping us all feel and understand that aging is normal and to be expected, they do something else instead. They take advantage of our weaknesses and capitalize on them. Because we live in a capitalistic society, this will always happen, but at least being aware of it gives some power back to you. Some say knowledge is power, but a dear friend of mine once said to me, applied knowledge is power. It's in our DNA as humans to want to be liked and admired by others. It isn't wrong to have these desires. Human beings travel in packs because it raises our odds of survival. When we're looked at as competent, healthy, and strong, we are deemed a valuable member of society. Opposite of that, if we are looked at as different or weird, it's normal to feel left out or ostracized. That feeling of isolation instinctually translates to danger. For this reason, it makes sense why we want to fit in and just go along with what everyone else is doing. But I'd like to challenge this idea because our feelings, although valid, don't always lead us down the best of paths. A common concern many honorable plastic surgeons have spoken out about regarding getting cosmetic work done is to be weary of the idea that enough is never enough. I'll tell you a story about my own mom. Growing up, my mom had an especially larger nose for her liking, so she got a nose job in her early 20s, and that was that. She accepted the single change happily and never looked back. But not all can stop there. Sadly, some go as far as developing a mental illness regarding a perceived flaw in one's appearance called body dysmorphia. Maybe your nose isn't quite right, and then your lips, and then your cheeks, and then it just goes on and on. Sometimes it isn't that we realize or decide we don't like this or that, but it's a shameful cosmetic surgeon telling their customers that they really could use this, or you really could just go for that procedure, all for the sake of another paycheck. Going through the spiral of negative thoughts on our body image and appearance can also trigger feelings of depression, anxiety, panic attacks, eating disorders, and even worse. If the more natural, healthy approaches to healthy skin and beauty were more often marketed and talked about, I wonder how different we would look and feel. And since they aren't often talked about, let's talk about them right now. Our skin is the largest organ, and much of its vibrance and elasticity starts from within. Topical oils, moisturizers, and SPFs are great, but nourishing the building blocks at a cellular level is the most effective way to experience lifelong results. results. Eating a diet full of whole plant foods, diverse in color and texture, offer nutrients and vitamins that aid in cell repair. Omega-3 and 6 fatty acids are the building blocks of cell membranes. So daily, I'd be sure to be consuming nuts, seeds, avocados, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Consuming foods in its whole form that are high in vitamin C, like citrus and kale, help our bodies create collagen, which keeps our skin elastic and bouncy. Staying hydrated by drinking adequate water is vital for skin health. The electrolytes found in coconut water is especially hydrating. Even adding a tiny dash of high-quality salt to our water will help with absorption. Wearing makeup daily is common and expected for most women, but taking it off at the end of the day is so important. If we don't, it'll just clog our pores and not give our skin the chance to breathe. Removing makeup and cleansing the skin should be a part of our evening routine, no matter how tired we might be. Coconut oil gently rubbed into the stubborn eye makeup is a cheap and non-toxic way to get that stuff off. A little trick I learned years ago is when wiping eye makeup off, wipe toward the inner part of your eye instead of away from the inner corner. This helps preventing stretching that gentle, delicate skin. Exfoliating is great for removing that outer layer of dead skin cells, but don't go too crazy, okay? Once or twice a week should be good enough. I have actually been making my own lip and face scrub for the past 10 years or so, and I will leave a link to my recipe for that down below. Another little hack is pampering your skin with moisturizer. When applying daily, don't just slap it on and move on with your day. Take at least 2 minutes and gently massage it in. It'll bring fresh blood flow to the face, it'll relax all those muscles, and also help with lymphatic drainage. Another tip for moisturizer, it is best used when the face has a little bit of water on it already, and that'll help the skin with absorption. Regardless of skin tone, making sure to apply SPF daily is helpful for overexposure to harmful sun rays. Comment below if you already use some of these holistic, healthy skin tips, and if you have some of your own, share it with us. But if these natural remedies just aren't enough and you're really fiending for wanting to do something more hands-on, there is a hack that has been used for wrinkle prevention since the late 1800s, and that is facial tape. It turns out that while we sleep, we make more facial expressions than we realize. Taping the forehead or other areas can help relax the muscles and sort of train them to stay calm throughout the day. The upsides to using this product is that it is way cheaper than Botox and way less invasive. To put the tape on, you wet the adhesive, rub it on the area with fine lines, and you wear it for at least 3 hours, but overnight while you sleep is probably the easiest way to go. In the description box, you can use my link to forehead tape. They are less than $30, which is a fraction of just one Botox session. You know, a few months ago, I started taping my mouth shut just to prevent any mouth breathing while I sleep. Nasal breathing is so much better for us for so many reasons, but now I might be taping my forehead as well. So waking up looking like the mummy in the mirror is gonna just be a sight that I have to get used to. Before we end this little chat on Botox and our faces, I want to remind you of something. Human beings are creative. We can get really fancy with our words. Sometimes we lie, sometimes we embellish or exaggerate, but something that is hard to mask is our facial expressions. No matter where you are, these lines formed by all these emotions are indicative of lives lived and emotions experienced. Instead of trying to erase and blur them, let us celebrate them. Let us be thankful to have the time and opportunity to even form these wrinkles and creases. It's evidence of moments shared and a reminder that every day is precious and a gift. Let us take advantage of the healthy hacks we discussed earlier to utilize and enjoy our youthfulness, but let us also embrace the wisdom and memories that come with mature age and the inevitable changes that it may bring.